Meet Sarah. She just bought the dream for $420,000, the current median home price in America. She posted the smiling key photo. Her friends flooded the comments with fire emojis and heart eyes. Her parents said they were proud. The algorithm rewarded her. It feels like she leveled up in life. But what Sarah doesn't realize is that she may have just signed a contract to become house poor for the next decade. 3 blocks away lives David. He's 30. He rents. No yard, no custom kitchen. His neighbors assume he's still figuring things out. But David has a quiet advantage. While Sarah is budgeting for gutters and property taxes, David's money is compounding in the background. This isn't a moral argument about renting versus owning, it's a math problem. And when you actually run the numbers, the results might surprise you. Sarah's $420,000 home required a 20% down payment. That's $84,000 in cash, gone from her savings account on day one. At a 7% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage, her principal and interest payment comes out to about $2,235 per month. She compares that to David's $2,200 rent and thinks, I'm basically paying the same, but I'm building equity. That's where most people stop calculating. Because principal and interest aren't the true monthly cost of owning a home, they're just the beginning. Start with property taxes. The national average effective property tax rate is about 1.1%. On a $420,000 home, that's roughly $4,620 per year, or $385 per month. Next is maintenance. Financial planners often use the 1% rule. Expect to spend about 1% of the home's value per year on repairs and upkeep. That's another $4,200 annually, or $350 per month. Some years it will be lower, some years it will be much higher, like when the roof leaks or the HVAC system dies in July. Then there's homeowners insurance. National averages hover around $150 per month, depending on location. Now add it up. Principal and interest, $2,235. Property taxes, $385. Maintenance, $350. Insurance, $150. Sarah's true monthly housing cost isn't $2,235. It's $3,120. David is still paying $2,200 in rent. That's a $920 difference every single month. Over 1 year, that gap equals $11,040. Over 10 years, assuming costs stay relatively stable, that's more than $110,000. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Property taxes, insurance, and maintenance are not building equity. They are expenses. Just like rent, the roof repair doesn't increase the square footage. The tax bill doesn't make the house bigger. That money is gone. Even the mortgage payment itself isn't building equity the way most people imagine. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage at 7%, the vast majority of each payment goes toward interest. In fact, during the first 5 years, roughly 80–85% of the payment is interest. That means Sarah is primarily paying the bank for the privilege of borrowing money. She's not just living in the house. She's renting money from the bank, and she's responsible for every repair. Now let's look at David. Instead of putting $84,000 into a down payment, David invests it. Assume he places it into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Historically, the market has returned around 8% annually over long periods. Some years are down, some are up, but over 15 years, 8% is a reasonable long-term assumption. That $84,000, left untouched for 15 years at 8%, grows to roughly $266,000. But David doesn't stop there. He takes the $920 monthly difference between his rent and Sarah's true ownership cost and invests that too, every month, automatically. No emotion, no drama. At 8% annual returns over 15 years, that $920 monthly investment grows to approximately $344,000. Add it together, and David's portfolio sits near $610,000. Meanwhile, let's assume Sarah's home appreciates at 3% annually, roughly the historical long-term average for real estate. After 15 years, her $420,000 home would be worth around $650,000. That sounds impressive, until you factor in reality. If Sarah sells, she'll likely pay about 6% in agent commissions and closing costs. That's nearly $39,000 gone immediately. She's also spent well over $200,000 on interest, taxes, insurance, and maintenance during those 15 years' money that doesn't come back. Yes, she has equity. Yes, her home increased in value, but her wealth is locked inside an illiquid asset. To access it, she has to refinance, borrow against it, or sell the roof over her head. David's $610,000 portfolio is liquid. It's diversified across hundreds of companies. It can be accessed, moved, or reallocated at any time. It didn't require a new water heater. It didn't care about property tax increases. And here's something rarely discussed. Flexibility has value. If David gets a job offer in another state with a 30% pay raise, he can move when his lease ends. If Sarah gets the same opportunity, she has to think about listing the house, timing the market, paying transaction costs, and potentially losing money if prices dip. Mobility in today's economy isn't just convenient, it's financially powerful. The biggest raises often come from switching companies or cities. Homeownership can quietly anchor you in place. None of this means buying a home is bad. It means buying a home is primarily a lifestyle decision, not automatically a winning investment strategy. Homes provide stability. They provide control over your space. They can be emotionally fulfilling. If you plan to stay put for decades, if you value customizing your environment, if the numbers make sense in your specific market, buying can absolutely work. But the cultural narrative that renting is throwing money away while owning is always building wealth is incomplete at best and misleading at worst. Rent is the maximum you'll pay for housing in a given month. A mortgage is the minimum. When you rent, your landlord handles the broken furnace. When you own, you are the landlord. You are the emergency fund. The key question isn't, is renting dumb? Or is owning smart? The real question is, what is the opportunity cost of your capital? Opportunity cost is the silent force shaping your financial life. Every dollar tied up in a down payment is a dollar that can't compound elsewhere. Every extra housing expense is money that can't be invested. Compound growth is slow at first. It feels boring, but over time, it becomes explosive. The market doesn't send you congratulatory emails. There's no key photo, no housewarming party, just quiet, relentless growth. And that quiet growth can create options. Options to retire earlier, options to take entrepreneurial risks, options to move cities, options to downshift careers, options to buy a home later, perhaps in cash. The American dream was designed for a different era, an era where people worked one job for 40 years, where pensions were common, and where geographic mobility was less critical. In that world, buying early and staying put made perfect sense. Today's economy rewards flexibility. Skills are portable, careers pivot, entire industries transform in a decade. In that environment, liquidity is power. If you buy a home because you love the neighborhood, because you want to raise children there, because you plan to stay for 15 or 20 years, and because the numbers work in your favor, that's rational. But if you're buying because you're afraid of missing out, or because society told you renting equals failure, pause. Run the David math. Calculate the true monthly cost of ownership. Estimate conservative appreciation. Compare it to disciplined investing. Factor in transaction costs. Factor in mobility, then decide. Because wealth isn't about granite countertops or square footage, it's about control over your time and choices. A house can be a beautiful place to live. It can also become a financial anchor if purchased without clarity. Buy a home for the lifestyle it provides, but never assume it's automatically the best investment you can make. The real win isn't owning or renting. The real win is understanding the math well enough to choose deliberately rather than drifting into a decision because everyone else did.